Gonna get started with a 2022 planner setup sort of review. I think it's helpful if I just start with 2021. And so for my 2021, I used the Day-Free Hobonichi. And so it starts with the yearly index. And so the way that I organized the yearly index was it's sort of like a work index, so I can see what my touch points are with each of my partners, and it's color coded. And I plan to do the same thing for the yearly index and my cousin. And so from there, it just sort of goes to the monthlies. I got this after January, so those two are empty. But you can see this is sort of what my monthly spreads look like over time. One of the things you'll notice is sometimes I put tasks in my monthly spread. You'll notice that as we're getting closer to the end of the year, especially. I started like playing with some highlighters here. And I think November is sort of where I got into what my planning system looks like now in my Hobonichi Cousin. And so I color coded things by like personal, work. I even differentiated stuff by my different work partners, stuff with my son, household items, and then like really important items, breaks, things like that. And then for December, I transitioned to the cousin. And so as you know, the Day-Free, the back of the Day-Free doesn't have any like dated pages. So this was just kind of all like work notes. Like literally the whole thing is just a whole bunch of work notes. And that's kind of how I stay organized throughout most of last year. I also had a Hobonichi Weeks for part of the year. And in this system, I sort of like laid out my appointments, list like day specific tasks, and then I also like wrote tasks sort of on, my son did that. And I wrote like the weekly tasks that just needed to be accomplished. I also started doing sort of like a rapid logging system in here too. And you'll see how some of the systems in both this week's and the Day-Free, I just transferred over to this, to the cousin. So let's get into the cousin. All right, so the cousin for this year. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with the cousin, has their monthly sort of grid, and then it has the yearly. It's not fully fleshed out, but you can see where I'm starting to like highlight based on partners. So I'm gonna finish doing that for this year. And then, like I said, in December is when I transferred to the Hobonichi Cousin. So you can see like kind of that same system you saw in November here in the December spread. Yeah, and similarly here. I'm starting January. This gets really full by the end of the month, so it looks blank now, but I promise by the end of the month it's gonna be looking crazy. So these are the weekly spreads in the Hobonichi. And so typically in my old Hobonichi, let me see if I can find a copy of that. I played around with some of the layouts, and this was sort of in my old Hobonichi Cousin. I would put the priorities here, have my appointments and the tasks, but they all kind of like ran in together. So I decided to do some color coordination this year and kind of mark out the appointments that I have here, and still put my tasks and my priorities. And I had a question that was like, are these the specific times the tasks occur, I usually in the weekly spread just try to get everything at least on a day that needs to get done. And so this was like last week, so not much was getting done. But you can see in this week, like this is piling up, tasks start to happen. And this again will be completely full by the end of the week as I start migrating things over. And so when I finish doing that, at the end of the day, I will go through and do my daily spreads. And so this one looks super messy because I was just planning out my meals and the dinners and things like that. And then over here, this is when we actually got into, this is yesterday's spread. And I organized it by putting those priorities in the weekly up top and then listing out sort of the appointments here. If there are tasks that are specific to a time, this is when I put them in here. These are notes for the day. And then I put my other tasks sort of at the bottom. And you can see that here, this is today's. So my priorities, I had 2 meetings for work, and then these are some tasks. These are all the notes I had in those meetings. And so, and even capture some like smaller tasks that need to happen in those little boxes. So yeah, that is my planning system for this year. I'm combining everything and living primarily out of this Hobonichi Cousin. So I'm looking forward to using this, and yeah, bye.